Hello, so this is a game that I played in making some footage for, I believe it was the improvement video. And as you might extrapolate from the title of this video, I lost this game. And I had it requested from a viewer that I would exemplify, demonstrate and show how I go about and analyze a loss, just as I described as a tip for how to do it, how we did in the improvement video, as a technique for improving. And I'm going to play you the game. I'm not going to play it in slow speed the whole game, but I'm going to walk you through how I was thinking and how I usually think when I play games. So far, I might change the way I go about going into games in my thinking. But I wasn't bringing my A game in decision making. So I always play random civ, random map. So I got Magyars, and I didn't think too much about Magyars, but I didn't do anything particular because of the civ I got. What I thought mainly when I saw the map was hideout, okay, it's a closed map, and I don't really have, how should I put it, an affinity for closed maps like in the style of Fortress, Arena, Hideout. I always like to, if I can, finish off the game as quick as possible. So nothing quite remarkable at all going on in the Dark Age. So I decided quite early just to have a 1 TC all push and do a castle drop. I usually decide what I'm going for in the Dark Age. The beginning is virtually identical for all strategies, so while I'm luring the first boar and having this first six villagers on sheep and so forth, that at the same time I do some thinking in the background of doing that, probably a bit earlier than this, but okay, what am I going to go for? Because you want to decide what you are doing before you are doing it, because if you will be thinking and deciding about what you're going to do at the same time as you should already be doing it, it might not work out so well, because chances are more often than not that the opponent loves this map, loves this civ, and they know exactly what they're going for. So you should know what you're going for, and it's okay if you don't know before the game starts. The most important thing is you should know what you're going for before the time to go for it. And here am I idling. I was idling there for a bit. I have Capture H running as well, so we can see. And I do have indeed, that's just another point, the factor of the game, which we can see. Okay, I'm doing 10 seconds better in idle time, but 10 seconds is virtually nothing in the context of things. FTC idle time. But villager idle time, it's 2 whole minutes worse. So that's something you can practice in isolation, handling idle time. And Dave Hun, or is it Dave Hun? Dave _Hun, he made a really good video on how to have a good mentality. It's a similar video to what I did, but he went much more into, well, what I'm doing now exactly. For one, he has a really good discussion in about 8 minutes about what to look for and what to ask yourself when watching the recorded games of a game you lost. And I'm just going straight naked, fast castle here and some castle drop. And if you are very experienced in the game and have already noted, aha, the enemy is Turks, and what is this idiot Eurolife doing? He's going for a castle drop, then you have probably already noted my very grave mistake I am about to make, which I decided to do very thoughtlessly. Now that's something I can spoil in the sense that I don't know when I'm playing right now yet. Housed, oh well, happens to the best. But this is the one thing I would say now, in retrospect, after everything, I made two big mistakes. And I'll tell one of them to you right now, and that's that I did not put the civilization of my opponent into any consideration whatsoever. I just thought, okay, Turks, late civ, they probably want to go for a late strat. And as you can see what the enemy is going for now, and this is not too hard to predict. Closed map like Hideout Arena, Turk civilization, it's not really hard to predict that they might be going for a fast Imperial Age. So the first mistake you can see I made was not taking the civilization of my opponent into account, and you will see the consequences of this play out quite very clearly soon enough. And I am determined to try to do some damage as early as I can. Of course, this is not as early as I can, but in the context that I wasn't thinking enough, I wasn't really bringing my A game. Of course I can say that, but maybe this was my A game and this is... Well, then we are improving our A game by reviewing the wreck of the game we lost. I get the castle up. That's the big part of the first big mistake, and now I try to get in. I do get in. And... well, this is always juicy when you can get in here. This is really juicy. Let's see the fruits of my labor. Oh yes, sweet idle time, villager idle time I'm causing him. Oh yes, look at that. Just look how it spikes up. This is and if you raid and don't get any villager kills, don't worry too much about it, because just imagine the juicy side of this. Just look how it spikes up. Not too long ago I was talking about how I was full minutes behind in village idle time, and just look what I have cost now. So this is also a very, very tangible result of a successful raid. And so far I would say that raid in a vacuum, as far as dealing damage with a raid was quite successful. And okay, so here's the second big mistake. And I will do this second big mistake twice-fold. And this is investing heavily into economy. And this is counter to what I said earlier about my 1 TC all-in push, which is what I usually go for, but I guess I unknowingly lied there, because I am not going for 1 TC all push, and that is my second biggest mistake in retrospect, because, well, I might be able to sustain these two archer ranges, but not much more. And blue player here, being Turks, is noticing my idiot mistake, but blue is Turks. And so what does that mean specifically, concretely? Why is it such a big deal that I didn't think about the Turks? Well, as Turks, you get... First of all, you get plenty of buffs for your gunpowder units, so this is very juicy for them, being able to pump out some hand cannoneers. And this is such a power spike over me, because I'm in a 1H earlier. But... where is it? Free chemistry. Yes, there. They get chemistry free as soon as they hit Imperial Age. So this is the reason why they can just like it was a Night Rush, they can just, as soon as they hit Imperial Age, they don't have to wait for chemistry or nothing. If they have archer ranges, they just hit Imperial Age, they can just immediately start pumping out these incredibly powerful Turk hand cannoneers. So the thing, when you are 1H behind, typically the solution I would try to turn to is just pushing hard before they can capitalize too much on their age advantage. And the way by doing that, you cannot out-tech them or outgun them, so to speak, when you are 1H behind. So you really have to outnumber them. And if you are putting down more TCs, I will soon really double down on this second mistake. If you are putting down more TCs, that's less military production you can sustain. So yeah, I have already put the nail in the coffin for myself. There's so much villager time into stone I put on. This castle accomplishes absolutely nothing. Because besides powerful, nice, nasty hand cannoneers immediately out of the archer ranges, as Turks, you can also immediately, for the same reason you get free chemistry, you can immediately put out some bombard cannons. So blue has had zero need to put any villagers onto stone whatsoever. They haven't even begun putting anyone on stone yet. This is really, really efficient in contrast to anything I have done in this game. The villager time I put into stone for this castle, some freaking idle time, I'm just arming myself here. And of course this is it happens easily when you are under pressure. These can feel like small details which you easily forget when you are under pressure and you're like panicking and being like, oh god, what do I do? And here you can see I am doubling down on my mistake. If you are behind in military, you are being pushed. This is putting down more TCs is the last thing you want to do. You are putting the last nail in your own coffin. And I have already begun this second mistake and I'm doubling down even more onto it and it was just some logical failure. I was thinking I need more economy to sustain more military production. But even more economy output has to be sustained. I'm not even producing. So, and even if I now have 3 town centers, I probably have realized that, okay, now I'm producing. These were idle there for a bit. And you can also see that this spiked up quite readily now. Already, with me having more town centers. But what I was getting on to earlier, this castle did absolutely nothing. I don't even remember it killing a single unit. So that's so much villager time I put down, still putting down with stone, which is accomplishing nothing. It's just putting the nail in my own coffin, which I'm at now just repeating myself on that note. But that's a form of idle time. It's not idle time, but it has the same effect, which it's not going to show up here, but it's worthless. You're wasting the villagers' time because it gave me 0 value to go so much for stone, put down this castle, because the castle did nothing in the big schemes of things. And now even I am both outgunned and outnumbered now. So this is just full Titanic from the get-go, caused to a very big extent by myself. And looking back on the video I made about how to improve, of the question you ask yourself when you've lost the game, what made me lose the game, and emphasis, what you emphasize is what did you yourself who played, what did I do or not do, which caused me, because the solution isn't, okay, the key to us improving is the opponents just being worse. That's not the solution. We have no power over how the opponent plays. So then we have to turn to what we do have control and power over, which is how we played. And here's a side note. When this game was over, I didn't have this analysis yet at all. I just thought, okay, I should have pushed earlier. And I still didn't realize what a colossal failure going for a castle drop, and then on top of that going for 3 TCs. And blue is still only on 1 TC. This is very well played for blue in the context. They just pushed on, and I just handed them the victory with just going for a colossal mistake of just giving them, just wasting all my villagers' time on a castle they will be able to kill very quickly with instantaneously training bomber cannons as soon as they hit the Imperial Age. And it's quite interesting. As when I hit GG and the chat after the game was over, is not recorded in the rec, but I can tell you what I recall. It was something along the lines is that's what you get for being aggressive. And I was so confused because I just immediately made the analysis for myself that I should have just pushed earlier. And of course, that's not necessarily a false answer, but I just didn't realize how I really had failed myself. So what I did is I went to Reddit, believe it or not. Let me look up this post quickly. When I asked here, and I basically just wrote a synopsis of what had happened in the game. And you can, if you because I was so curious, because the opponent didn't agree with me at all. No, it's you should have gone for Magar's horse or whatever. And I was so confused, like the opponent basically said it was the early aggression that killed me, and well, he didn't quite communicate what I think I had done wrong, but he left quite fast, so I didn't have much time to talk to him, even though I was curious. So I thought, well, maybe there's something I'm not getting yet. So I went to Reddit to ask, and this is something you can do. Just be careful to ask a good question, which, well, there's a cliche that there are no dumb questions, but if you do go to Reddit and ask a question, make sure you ask a question in such a way that you can get a useful answer. Otherwise, there's a risk someone will make you the butt of a joke and make fun of you. So I got plenty of helpful answers, and this is where I realized first here I realized that I had absolutely not thought about at all about my opponent's civilization, and how just so much damage I did to myself by putting down that castle. Yes, as this top comment here said. So if you are unsure in your own analysis and you're having trouble coming up with what it was exactly you did wrong, you can do what I did. Go to, for instance, the AoE2 subreddit. There's also other places, like you could try AoE Zone or forums.ageofempires.com. And but this is if you do ask for help, this is basically what you do. Describe specifically but concisely the game you just had, what your thoughts are, and then ask, what would you have done in my situation in this game? And this is how you get the useful answer. Because if you just ask, yeah, what do I do against Turks? People are just going to say, it depends. And of course, that is the correct answer. It depends, because the game is so situational. So describe your situation as specifically but also concisely as possible, and don't write an essay so people will actually bother reading it. Also, maybe also just one line, TLDR, as I did here in one sentence, also helps people help you. But yeah, so that's me answering those two questions for myself. What made me lose the game? Going for a castle drop against Turk fast imping on a closed map like Hideout. That's something I did which made me lose the game. What could I have done differently in retrospect? And I think I probably would have, well, first of all, not gone for the castle, obviously. But maybe something like towers and men-at-arms would have been something. Let's see what I wrote on Reddit. Yes, added crossbows as well. So this is something going forward in the future. If I end up on a closed map and the enemy is Turks, I am going to be more prepared for a fast imp. And crossbows would have done quite nicely against hand cannoneers. So yes, that's thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting or useful, and leave a comment of how you liked it, and if you would like to see more of these kinds of videos in the future. Thank you so much. Take care.